All right, guys. So we're going to start Biz Dev Tactics with clip art from Eric. I start off with a quote that Nam always says. Nam didn't start off in business development, but he says everything like that. I'm very serious about something. He says that's so Biz Dev. It's like that's kind of like that's so Raven. I think, right? Okay. So anyway, we're going to start off. What is business development? So business development, to me, consists of three things. The first is, and you can read on it, it's basically the process of marketing, selling, developing strategies for your company. What that means is you have a product and you need to market it, you need to sell it, and you need to develop ways that people will implement it. It's all about user, well, it depends on what type of business development is, if it's business to business. So if it's business to business, Aviary, a business is talking to another business like Tumblr or Foursquare. And sell it, it's the process of getting them to implement whatever we have. If it's business to consumer, business development is not as required as it's just user adoption, marketing, press, and stuff like that. The second is to strengthen ties with existing partners, create new ones. That means going to events, meeting new people, always open to making and getting introductions, etc. And the third thing, which is probably the most important thing, is you're supposed to. Business development is a means to getting to sales. So sales is if you turn business development into sales, you are a really good business developer because a sales means you keep repeating the same thing that not anybody, they're really good salespeople, but sales is it's a process. You have a product, you have a cart sheet of how much it costs, and then you go out and you get people and say, sell this. The people in the mall that are selling the skincare stuff. That's like sales. It's just a product they have and they sell it. So that is the ultimate goal of someone who does business development. So at the bottom of every slide, I'm going to have a story, a short one. I think that makes it kind of fun. So how I got into business development. So I kind of fell into business development. I started a company with two friends in college. We didn't really know what we were doing. We were trying to put kiosks in airports, fully digital, so you can walk up to a kiosk, plug in your iPhone or laptop, get a movie, and walk away and walk on your flight with a movie. We want to locally store all the content in the kiosk. And it failed miserably, but it was a great learning experience. We had no idea what we were doing, like three 18-year-old kids who didn't know anything. But I happened to just be interfacing a lot with airports to try to get our kiosk in their airports. I was interfacing with studios trying to get their content on our kiosk. I was dealing mostly with partnerships and aligning ourselves with people. And I didn't call it business development. I just was just working. I was just trying to make it happen. And then it fell in. I liked talking with people and going to events and meeting people and going into a meeting and getting someone to do something that they weren't doing 10 minutes before the meeting, or convincing them that it's something that they need or want. So that's how I got into business development. Everyone's different how they get into business development, but it's something a lot of people just fall into. I mean, even Nam just kind of fell into business development. He's doing a great job now. So that's that. What is a typical day in BD? So hustle in the morning, hustle in the evening, hustle at supper time. So there really is no typical day. Next question. No. What I did today. So today I woke up, I got an email from a friend 2 days ago who was working in private equity and hedge funds, and he wants to join a startup. And he was a close friend, so I had breakfast with him at 9 a.m. Then I came to the office and did some research on real estate companies that might want to use Feather. Eric he made a proposal for a company I sat down with in the afternoon because I wasn't going to have Wi-Fi, so I wanted to have it on my iPad. Then I had a call with a company called Naked Apartments and talked to them about implementing Feather, their real estate site. Then I had a meeting with Rumorama, which is the one where I made the proposal for. Went all the way down to the village, on East Village, 1st and 9th. Came all the way back, doing this presentation, going to dinner at 6 o'clock with my wife and her mother. Has no relevance to business development. And then I'm going to an event tonight at 8 o'clock. It's We Are New York Tech's first 150 people who were featured in it. They're doing something on a rooftop. So that's a day. Tomorrow is going to be totally different. Yesterday was entirely different. There's just no typical day. digital identity. So, the best business development people I've met you can easily get in touch with them on the internet. They're very visible. They've got a LinkedIn page, they're on Hashable, they've got an About Me page where you can just email them if you need to. They're really accessible on Twitter, Facebook, Foursquare. They've got a blog or they're on Tumblr. And they're like hanging out in early adopting platforms. They're looking to find other people. Like business development people are looking to find other people. It's the great thing about business development is that other business development people at different companies want to talk with you. I mean, it's not like you don't have to like work that hard to like meet them and talk to them. They are doing the exact same thing as you, trying to hustle, trying to meet new people, trying to figure out ways you can work together. So story. So how I got someone to integrate Aviary's API from Turntable. So I was on Turntable on a Saturday night, and I have a MacBook. I have a Chromebook, and I was using the Chromebook. And when you use the Chromebook on a Turntable, it shows like the logo that you have, and it's really cool. There's only like I've only seen like 4 or 5 people total on Turntable. They usually either have a PC or a Mac. So when you have a Chromebook and you're DJing, you look kind of cool, and everyone like starts saying, "Hey, you're cool." So I looked cool, even though I'm not. And this guy started talking to me. He's like, "Oh, what do you do?" I was like, "Oh, we're actually launch partners for Chrome, me and Aviary, blah blah blah." He's like, "Oh, I have a photo sharing mobile app that's coming out in a few weeks. Then we need editing tools." And we were talking, and then we had a call the next day. And when we launched Android for Feather Mobile for Android, he wants to integrate it. So you have to be in these different you have to be on the web. You have to have a good presence. And it needs to be you. It can't be like a photo of like a shoe or a photo of like a landscape. It needs to be. You need to be a person, and people need to identify that. BD vision. So there's something I call BD vision. You have to be able to see opportunities. So it's kind of being able to link, like knowing that if you connect this person to that person, that something is going to happen. It's kind of like. This past week, I had a call with a company called Wix, and they are revamping all their photo stuff. And they're looking for, he didn't explicitly say it out loud, but they're basically looking for like stock photography. And I happen to have a friend at iStock Photo and Shutterstock. So I said, it makes a lot of sense for them to talk. And it makes us look like, we're making that marriage between them. Now they've got all this stock photo. Oh, they need editing tools also. So it's kind of having the ability to see. It doesn't need to be just in your space. It's like another friend, my friend Josh, who runs something called URTV, who just moved to San Francisco. I connected him to a bunch of people in the online video space. He's trying to do like, it's kind of like you have like a game show from your browser. So any given night you can be on like a game show. Like who wants to be on?
It's like Josh Harris.
What's Josh Harris? I don't know. So just like being able to see that, okay, if he would speak to Endemol and Endemol, which does all these different reality game shows, and if he spoke to Fremantle, which does like Price is Right and this, then if they like want to sponsor it or give him some content, it would be really valuable. And your mind really needs to always be on. It's always like just like connecting dots. You always need to be connecting dots. Networking. A lot of text here. So. Some things that you should really be thinking about are figuring out the right events to go to. That's really important. I used to go to 3 to 4 events a week. I'm going now to 1 or 2 events a week, but I'm going to the right events, and I'm not spending the time. Really, I don't want to say it's a waste of time because everything you do leads to something, but it's like just managing your time correctly. You need to balance your life and your work, and it's hard, and it's really hard to figure out. But after you go around the circuit for a while, you can realize who's going to which events and which events you want to be at, so that you can meet new people. I love going to events where I don't know anybody, because then I feel like I'm comfortable going up to random people and just start talking. Not everyone's like that. Some people need to go to events with their friends, but you got to figure out what's right for you. Like I said in the last post, the post before that, the last slide of the slide before that, using social media. So networking and going to events is not scalable. You can only go to 4 or 5 events a week, meet let's say max 50 people at each event, that's still hard. You're not going to meet everybody. But when you have a digital identity, if you blog, people write to you, they want to talk to you. You put together events, you coordinate events in business development, and people reach out to you. You're somebody in the space to listen to. Just having that digital identity allows you to scale. Twitter, Maya's got like 4,000 followers or something, or almost 4,000 followers. So she's got like an audience, and it's much more scalable than her trying to go to an event and talk to 5 to 10 people and meeting something live. Pre-gaming networking events by doing recon. That's fun. It's a lot of fun. And it takes work, but it's some of the best stuff. So, and I'll give you an example right now, which I had prepared. So there's the New York Venture Community Happy Hour, which is on Tuesday. And what they do is they have a list of who's going to be at the event. And what I like to do is look through the list and figure out who I want to meet. And it's not, you think it's not really stalkerish, but it's like, I'm going to this event, I'm only going to be there for like 2 hours. Like, I want to meet someone from the Blackstone group. I don't know. Why not? They have a lot of money, and maybe whatever, I don't know. I want to meet someone from this venture firm. I want to meet, this person or that person. And really doing the research. I mean, they have the whole list. You can really go through. Most events have this whole list where you can just see who's going. Andrew's a friend of mine, knowing that she's going to be there, I should really, see who else is going to be there that I know or that would know. Like, maybe I want to meet that person because I don't know him and I know that Andrew knows him. So just knowing that before the event will really help you. Where did that thing go? Yeah, that's funny. So knowing that information before is extremely valuable. So also making use of the time of event. You're going to be there for 2 hours. Probably shouldn't get drunk the first minute because your mind's not going to be on. It's kind of like figuring out okay, what are your goals for? I mean, you don't want to look at it that way, but you have to think about it. What are your goals? Is it you just want to meet new people today? Is it that you had someone specific in mind that you needed to meet and to talk to, and you wanted to show them Aviary's new mobile app for 2 seconds so that it was on their mind when you reach out next week when it's available? So you need to make use of your time. Staying focused, same thing. Finding the people. Also going with the flow. If the person doesn't show up, don't worry about it. There's going to be other people. There are going to be people who show up that are not on that list that you want to meet. Making sure that you follow up after the event. That is really, really important. Anyone's card you get, even if there's nothing immediate that you see with them, just sending them, hey, it was great meeting you. Love to stay in touch. Best Alex. Even if there's no immediate, just being a good person and just following up, saying thank you for me, great to meet you. They respond, oh, it was great meeting you too. Shoot them a LinkedIn connection, and then basically you'll see oh, maybe that person ends up going and running business development for Flickr. I don't know, who knows? And then it's relevant. So you can't. Sometimes you can't see the relevancy, but it happens. And you just don't know. And also, the other thing is, with going with the flow and meeting new people, and the people who might not show up, it's okay to reach out to people who didn't show up and just say, hey, I really wanted to meet you. I didn't get a chance to meet you, and I'd love if you had 15 minutes to grab coffee. I do that at almost every event I go to, and I'd say those are probably the people who respond the most. Reading from Disney, the Disney that we're talking to right now, Lazarelli was supposed to go to this is the story, the digital networking executive event, and she didn't show up. And I specifically saw her name because she was in charge of product for Disney, and I thought that would be really interesting to talk to them. She ended up not showing up, and I got her email address, and I said, hey, Lee, Lee, I really wanted to chat with you, and you weren't at the event. I'd love if you have a few minutes. And I went in, and we became very close, and now, she introduced us to other groups in Disney, and we're talking to them, and just a lot of other stuff. That's just one example, but it happens a lot. Only good is your last trade. So that's a quote that is from from a lot of Wall Street movies. Same applies to business development. You may have just closed, I don't know, the biggest deal, but you can't take your foot off the gas. You can't try not to lose momentum. You should really just never feel content that it's enough. You should, like, every time you close one, you should want to close like 2 more, because you're really good as your last deal, as your last, you know, it's like what have you done for me lately? That's like another thing, classic BD saying. It's more of a Wall Street saying, but it's like a trading, like with sales and trading on Wall Street. It's all about like making money, closing deals, etc., etc. Another classic BD saying is, if you want a friend, get a dog. So I think that's what Nan does. So following up.
He's right. He's right.
All right. So following up, reaching out, corresponding, and favors. So all this is a learned art. No one's born with this. And still, you know, even following up and even reaching out, like I violate a lot of the rules that I'm giving you right here all the time. But I try to stick to. So it's all about relationships. Really, business development is all about relationships. It's always about you know, staying warm with people, and it's not like using. You don't want to you don't want to feel like you're using somebody. What you really want to feel like is that you're building a relationship. You need to, like, Michael does a great example. Like, Michael is friends with all the people that he deals with. Like, he's actually friends with them. And like, I'm starting to become friends with a lot of people in the New York tech scene and in general. And it's not that, like, oh, I want to be friends with them because, like, they're also at like a company, but they all happen to be really cool people. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like, the tech people are pretty cool. They're pretty easygoing, like, funny people. And it's just, you want to, like, it's all about, like, having relationships with them and having real relationships, and not just like making like when you need something, you're talking to them. Keeping follow-ups and reaching out really short, 5 sentences total. Somebody, I think, emailed Natalie and I this week with 9 paragraphs. I don't think we responded yet, just because it's like there's really like the shorter the email, the higher the correlation of the response. So if you keep the email short, most likely, if somebody has a few seconds, they'll respond, because the short request is usually a short answer. But if you send someone 9 paragraphs, if they respond, it'll take them a while because they need to process it. And also, something that Michael tweeted out and Maya responded to is try to have only 1 ask in the email. 2 asks is complicated, not just for Michael, just for most people. And also, like, if you're asking for something specific, put in the subject and be very specific. And correspond often. You know, really keep relationships warm. Whether it's just congratulating somebody on closing around money, or you know, someone does something like cool promotion. Maybe it's not such a big hit, but it's cool, and you're like, hey, I saw that, it was really cool. Or seeing somebody like getting written up at TechCrunch or something, and just saying like, hey, that's really great. Like, you know, what are you doing next? Do you need any help, etc. And just like favors, like always be giving and taking. It's really like, if you're not giving and taking, you're not doing anything. You should be helping people and asking people for things at the same time. It seems in New York, everyone's about camaraderie and trying to elevate the whole New York tech scene to another level. We're not San Francisco, and you know, people know that. We're a few years away. But I think that you're seeing very, very few competing companies directly in New York. And it seems like more people are trying to elevate each other to a new level. Getting rejected, that's fun. This is my favorite part. I love getting rejected. And it's really okay to get rejected. It's scary in the beginning. Like, you think that, like, it sucks. Like, nobody likes getting rejected. Nobody likes getting broken up with. Nobody likes getting no. Everyone wants to get their way. I remember when Nam was starting in business development. He was like, people aren't responding to my emails. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, it was like when the cold reach. We were like doing some like reaching out. What do you say?
More than 5 sentences. That was my issue.
When Nam started doing some business development stuff, he was like reaching out to people about implementing Feather, and he was going to like partners that we had the same vertical and seeing who else would make sense in that vertical, saying, oh, your competitor has this, you should have an editor as well. And some of them would respond, some of them wouldn't. But as Nam got used to doing business development, he started making them really customized. Like, oh, hey, I see you're in San Francisco, around the corner from this restaurant that I used to go to when I lived in San Francisco, and you should try this. You should order the number 2 or something. I remember seeing doing that, and like that got a response within like a day because you got used to it. But getting rejected is really part of business development, and you're going to get rejected a lot. And you should really try to get rejected a lot. Like you should try to get rejected more and more, because eventually you'll become numb to it, and you'll just be better. You'll be fearless in who you go after. When I was a junior in college, I wanted to work on Wall Street, and I wanted to do sales and trading. And I applied to every single Wall Street firm, and I got rejected by a lot of them. But it only took one place to say yes. It's the same thing with marriage. All you need is one person to say yes. That's all. I got no rejection. I'm 1 for 1. Thank God. But yeah, no. I mean, like, I remember like the first time I got really rejected, and it like hurt so bad. I was in like English class, and I had my like BlackBerry and no. I had my BlackBerry. I got an email. I interviewed final round at Goldman Sachs for sales and trading for the summer, and I thought my interview was solid, but I knew I didn't get it because you need to do like something else to get that, and it was like this generic rejection letter, and it really hurt. And then like 2 hours later, I got another one, and like I was like. Why? No, not from Goldman Sachs. It was like from like I don't know, either JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley, and it's just like I was like I ended up getting a job. I ended up working at Credit Suisse, but it like started that process of really like being okay with getting rejected, and like honestly, I wouldn't want to work with someone who like didn't. You don't have to in the start. Like it's fine to get rejected, but like. After you start getting rejected a few times, people not responding to your email or people saying no, like you need to be able to thrive on that to be good at business development. Only one more slide. So tools to make yourself better. Make sure you have an About Me page and make this the hub of your digital identity. I put it at the bottom of all my emails. I'm sure you see that when you get emails from me. They have statistics behind that, and I look at the statistics of who's clicking on what and like what picture I have. So I have this Superman with a comic book filter now on it, and it's pretty cool. And actually, I bumped into Tony Conrad, who's the founder of About Me at TechCrunch Disrupt. I was like, "Hey Tony, I want to show you my About Me page because there's like a filter on it," and he thought it was really cool. And but that's irrelevant. Anyway, About Me is just a great way to house all your stuff because it's just a great way to like. It's like your rock. Twitter. You have to be on Twitter. Everyone's on Twitter, and you're like that's where news happens. If you're on Twitter, then like I feel like being on Twitter is like you know that show Early Edition I used to be on with Kyle Chandler. He got the newspaper a day early. When I'm on Twitter, like I'm at like if I'm on like it's open all day. I feel like all my friends who aren't on Twitter or in tech, like they're getting news like a day after me, and news is valuable, extremely valuable. LinkedIn, you have to be on LinkedIn. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's good enough, I guess. They just like it's really valuable to. I think one of the most important things about LinkedIn is just because you connected someone, let's say they work at AOL, it doesn't mean they're going to work at AOL for the rest of their lives, and it gives you notifications when people change jobs, and it's extremely valuable to knowing where your network's kind of expanding. Gmail, keeping all your contacts on Gmail. I saw like one of the first few weeks I saw Michael's GChat. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Walk past him when he's on GChat. It's like everybody in the world is there, and there's something really valuable about having everyone as like a GChat away. And it's, like if you look at mine, it's ranging from like press people to like VCs to BD people to like every person like I know who has Gmail is on my GChat. I'd say I have like about 400 people on the GChat, and they're not always on, but a lot of them are, like, ranging from like 100 to 200 a day. And it's just easy to like access. Like I was just talking, Shutterstock came in last week I think, or the week before, and like he went away to Nantucket for July 4th, and I sent him the email, I didn't hear back, and he was just on GChat, we're just talking, like, yeah, I got it, I'm sitting down with the team in a week or two, and we're gonna hammer out, like, see how we can integrate your stuff. So like, it's just, like, email is heavy, and this is light, so it's very easy. And HiRise, we use HiRise, it's solid, it probably could be better, but it's great to see like what Nan's working on, what Mike is working on, what Eric's working on, and it's just a great way to keep track of what other people are on. So launching the Effects API. So when we launched the Effects API, I was talking to Mashable and TechCrunch and Observer and VentureBeat and Silicon Valley Insider all on GChat at the same time. And someone like noticed a mistake in something, so I had to correct it in all of them. It was just GChat. You all should start with adding all your friends to GChat. Now, conclusion. Coffee is for closers, and you should get out and start closing. Thank you. What? Thank you. Any questions?
Yes.
Go for it.
So with GChat, how often do you connect with just random people to keep the relationships warm?
It depends. Like, it depends what's like going on. What do you mean by random people?
I assume you have a list of 200 people that you know that are randomly on GChat.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume part of what you do is keep the relationship warm by reaching out to them if you see them online.
So it depends on the day. There's some people I talk to every day on GChat, and there's some people that I'm like, hey, what's up? It also depends on like people asking. Like, for example, my friend Scott Britton, who has a startup called Sifter, wants to talk to press people, and he saw on LinkedIn that I was connected to Megan from TechMe. So, and he said, hey, do you mind like asking Megan if like you can introduce us? I said, sure. And he said, are we actually close to that? Because not everyone on LinkedIn you actually know or close to that you're connected with. But so she was on GChat, and I was like, hey Megan, I caught up with her, and then I was like, hey, my friend Scott has this startup that's actually kind of relevant for you because it like sifts through your Twitter and pulls out the most important links and stuff. And she's like, yeah, I'd love to chat with them, and I introduced them, and that took like about 5 minutes. And I hadn't spoken to Megan like a few weeks. She came to the business development event that I threw, but like I hadn't spoken to her in maybe a month or two. It depends on, like, something like that will prompt me to like catch up with a person.
Okay, so it's organic.
Yeah, I don't. There's not like okay, this week I'm making sure that I say something to these 4 people. I try not to do that. Yeah, I try not to do that. It's more organic what I'm feeling in the moment. But I'm on the internet all day, so I'd say within a day I talk to 50 people on the GChat. Just like could be just like, what event are you going to tonight? It could be like, oh, like someone from a news blog says like I don't know, from Observer asked me like, what do I think about this, or what do like. So this morning, one of the Observer people, We Are New York Tech is launching the jobs page. I said, what do you think about this? I was like, I don't hire people, so I forwarded it to mine. I was like, cool. I was like, our person who hires people said, cool. Exclamation point. So that, I mean, it's like random. Any other questions? Come on.
So when you go to an event and you see people that you haven't met before, how do you approach them without sounding stupid?
It's a good question.
Do the free.
It's a good one. So there's like a few places that are like prime places, so it's less awkward. Getting a drink. That's one place where it's like not super creepy. You're getting a drink, you're standing next to somebody, you're waiting online, like, hey, what's going on? Depends on the type of event. at networking events, you just go up to be like, hey, I'm Alex, I work at Aviary. Nice to meet you. Like, don't like try to use a line or anything. It depends on the type of event. If it's a pure networking event, I have no problem just going to somebody saying, hi, I'm Alex, I work at Aviary. I usually wear an Aviary shirt when I go to events, and some people just come up to me like, oh, Aviary, I love you guys. And I'm like, hey, what do you do? But if it's not an event like that, let's say it's like a speaker, and then like after it's like refreshment. It's like after like go up to the speaker. If you know somebody who's talking to people, it's organic again. It's like you're seeing your friends talk to somebody. They're like, oh, you need to meet this person. You need to meet that person. But if you don't know anybody, stick to lines. Lines are good. Lines are just like an organic way, like line at the bathroom, line at the door, line at the drink.
Line How do you leave someone after you've been speaking to them for like a few minutes and you obviously want to move on and network with someone else without being rude?
It's tricky. That's hard. Some people can take you for days, or what feels like days of your life, and it's. You always need to be nice. If I would like to move on, I typically say like, I love to like connect with you in like a more like intimate setting, like not intimate, but like I like it in like I love to grab coffee. So no, I like to connect with you with in a like more personal setting, and hear more about whatever it is that you're doing or whatever it is that you're saying, and like you exchange cards and be like, yeah, I'll hit you up tomorrow and we'll figure something out, and like I try to like it's hard trying to manage like, oh, maybe what they are saying is interesting, but just in general like it's not like. One thing when I got back from vacation, Michael's like, you need to like move all your meetings to one day of the week, which now is Friday, like that are not completely core to whatever you're focusing on. So whether it's mobile, whether it's real estate partners, or whether it's something else, like move all your meetings because you need to still have those meetings because you never know where things can come from, but you can't like spread yourself too thin where you're running around the city and you're not getting anything done. So like having one day where or like Friday in the summer, like where you do all your meetings with whether it's helping somebody or this or that. Yeah, it's hard, man. Sometimes you just gotta like go to the bathroom, get a drink, like again, bathroom and drinks.
You gotta go get a beer and see talking to someone.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's.
No, it's a good answer. So you'll follow up with them after the meeting.
Yeah, if you really need to end it, you say, love to like actually sit down with you after this and give me your card. We'll like.
I want to go network with other people.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to make the rounds and leave or whatever. Yeah. Sometimes but it's not like I'm insulting the person. Like I want to meet all the people I can to meet with. Like depends on the event. If it's a networking event, then people are totally fine with like, hey, it was a great meeting. Let's like connect outside of this.
Also, if you have a card, it's usually a good thing. Like, oh, we're exchanging information. We can continue this later.
Yeah, I mean, if you exchange cards with somebody, most times you want more interaction. If you didn't exchange cards, not always, but it's like, or at least they'd say like, oh, I want your information. Like, what's your email? Alex at Aviary.
Well, do you find that that's pretty common? Like people have cards nowadays?
It's a mix. It's a mix. A lot of companies like Card Lunch and Hashable are trying to get rid of business cards. To be perfectly honest, anyone in the startup space, their email address is their first name and their company. At least, even if it's not their like primary email, if you email that, you will get the person. Michael doesn't carry around business cards anymore. Just says, if you want to reach me, Michael at Aviary.
By the way, I've tried the same. It's a very, very bad idea. At least if you're dealing with investors and other people, because they're very old school and they always have a business card.
No.
And if you want them to follow up with you, they need something physical in their pocket.
That's
So,
yeah,
here's Michael.
100%. Like if you want people to follow up with you, you need to give them a business card. But I think regardless, you should always be following up with everybody. I don't leave it to somebody else to follow up with me. There's a lot of stuff. you're giving people jobs, and like it's not, every time after an event, I have business cards, I put them in front of me, I have a canned response of like, hey, X, it was great seeing you, let's stay connected, great meeting you, let's stay connected, best Alex. And it's just a canned response, I drop it in, and like, if there's anything personal, like, if there was like, oh, haha, funny movie, Transformers, I don't know, whatever. Spoiler alert, it's loud. No, if like there's something personal, you add the personal stuff. But the basic template, it would take you about 5 to 10 minutes to follow up with everybody from the event. Because there's no event you're going to, unless you want to South by Southwest, there's no event you're going to in New York where you're meeting more than like 20 people in a given event. Unless you're like Superman, and then I come in.
Only on the About Me page.
What?
Only on the About Me page.
Yes, exactly. Any other questions? Did anyone learn anything?
That was great. Thank you very much.
What's next week?
Alex teaches us about the internet.